Good evening, welcome to South Asian Newsline. I'm Swati Kundra. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Tuesday, the 5th of January. Explosion occurs outside Pakistani guest house in Afghanistan. Pakistan Prime Minister on a 3-day visit to Sri Lanka to boost ties. And combing operation continues in Indian Air Base on 4th day of terror attack. And now for all the details. An explosion was reported on Tuesday outside a Pakistani guest house in the eastern Afghan city of Jalalabad in Nangarhar province. The area where the blast took place is close to foreign consulate buildings of Pakistan, India and Iran. The target of the attack was not immediately clear and none of the extremists group has claimed responsibility. There have been no casualties. The attack comes just 2 days after a group of terrorists attacked the Indian consulate in Mazar-e-Sharif city of northern Balkh province. Meanwhile, Afghanistan Special Forces killed all the terrorists who were holed up in the house near the Indian consulate in Mazar-e-Sharif, bringing a 25-hour siege to an end. The militants had shut themselves into a house after they were unsuccessful in breaking into the consulate late on Sunday night.
The clearance operation has ended and the investigation is underway to identify the gunmen and those behind the attack. Heavy explosives and arms were recovered from the militants. One Afghan policeman has been killed and 11 other wounded in the attack.
مهاجمین از پا در آمدن و از بین رفتن سلاح سبک سنگین هم داشتن که استعمال کرده بودن او هم به دست آمد.
The Indian mission came under attack when a group of gunmen tried to storm into it on Sunday night. However, the security personnel deployed on the sentry post foiled their attempt by raining heavy fire on them. The attack also comes a week after Indian Prime Minister visited Kabul in an attempt to improve regional stability and boost ties between the countries. In 2014, India's consulate in the western Afghan city of Herat was hit by heavily armed insurgents, including suicide bombers.
Staying on news from the country, the Taliban has owned responsibility for carrying out one of the 2 suicide bombings near Kabul's international airport on Monday. 30 Afghan civilians, including 9 children, were wounded in the attack.
The insurgent group claimed it was behind the truck bomb attack on a compound for civilian contractors near Kabul airport, which was apparently carried out to target foreigners. The truck packed with explosive drove up to the armoured gates of the complex before being detonated, badly damaging nearby houses. This happened after another suicide bomber detonated an explosive-laden vehicle near the airport's main entrance on Monday morning. The attacker was the only casualty in that incident. The series of attacks in the area has triggered panic among locals who vent their frustration at the country's leaders.
از روزی که ششته یعنی میالته هیچ مردم زندگی خود از زندگی انسانی خانه میفهمه مردم زندگی حق داره انسانیت حق داره چی حالتی هیچ روز سری ملت بیچاره میگه نه که نمیتونی مردار کده میمانی یک اشتران دو تا موتروان در کدام مملکت در کدام وطن یار بوده.
Afghanistan has witnessed a surge in Taliban-led attacks in the country, which the group claims mainly targets foreigners in and around Kabul, but most casualties have been Afghan civilians. The insurgency has significantly increased since foreign forces ended combat operations last year. Monday's attacks occurred as special forces in the northern city of Mazar-e-Sharif fought to suppress a small group of insurgents holding out after an attack on the Indian consulate on Sunday night. The attacks have coincided with renewed efforts to resume peace talks between the Taliban and the Afghan government.
Moving on to India, counter-terrorism operation continued in India's Pathankot on Tuesday. Government claimed that all terrorists who had launched an attack on the army air base have been neutralized. The National Investigation Agency has started investigation into the matter.
Security forces continued search and combing operation inside Pathankot Air Base in northern Punjab province on the 4th day of the attack on frontline Air Force station by terrorists. while Pakistan-administered Kashmir-based militant group United Jihad Council on Monday claimed responsibility of the attack, the Indian government has denied it, saying that it was a claim to cover up the real terrorists behind the attack.
टेररिस्ट पाकिस्तान से ही आए थे, पांचों टेररिस्ट। वो जो टेलीफोन कॉल्स किए गए हैं उनके आधार पे हम कह सकते हैं पाकिस्तान से ही आए।
वो पाकिस्तान में कहां से आए थे, इस तरह की कुछ जांच
कहां से आए ये मैटर ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन है।
The attack had begun in the early hours of Saturday when terrorists dressed in Indian military uniforms stormed the Air Force base and started indiscriminate firing. While 4 terrorists were gunned down late on Saturday, one was killed on Monday. The incident has cast a shadow on the proposed foreign secretary level talks between India and Pakistan later this month.
देखिए, इस माहौल में तो बात हो नहीं सकती। अच्छा होगा कि कुछ इसको पोस्टपोन कर दिया जाए, थोड़े समय के बाद कुछ माहौल बन जाए और तब तक इस इंक्वायरी रिपोर्ट भी काफ़ी हद तक आ जाएगी। और मैं समझता हूँ फॉरेन सेक्रेटरी लेवल से बेहतर होगा कि पहले NSL लेवल की बातचीत हो ताकि ये सारी चीज़ें इस मुद्दे पे भी डिस्कस हो।
The terror attack has come just a week after Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid a surprise visit to Pakistan to strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries.
Moving on to news from Pakistan, the repealed PIA privatization ordinance has been converted into a bill by the government of Pakistan. This has been done to keep the PIA sell-off option open. By turning the repealed ordinance into a bill, the government has ensured the bill will be debated by the National Assembly Standing Committee on Cabinet instead of the PIA Special Committee, which has been formed to decide the fate of the struggling national airlines. Last month, the government had promulgated the controversial PIA ordinance to repeal the PIA Act of 1956, aimed at removing a legal hindrance in its privatization. Pakistan is in need to privatize bleeding state companies in return to IMF bailout after the monetary organization in 2013 agreed to lend $6.7 billion to Pakistan over 3 years. Many feel the privatizing the PIA is one of the measures towards this. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz-e-Sharif, who is in Sri Lanka on a 3-day official visit, held talks with the Sri Lankan leadership on Tuesday. The two countries have signed 8 MOUs to strengthen bilateral cooperation.
Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz-e-Sharif on Tuesday led a delegation-level talk with Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena in the President House. Sharif was given a ceremonial welcome by Sirisena before the two sat for official talks with their respective delegations. The two leaders discussed betterment of bilateral ties and also signed 8 agreements in various fields, including trade, defense, security and anti-terrorism.
Both sides reached broad consensus on ways and means to further strengthen our bilateral cooperation in a comprehensive manner. We have agreed to hold frequent summit-level meetings, promote parliamentary exchanges and enhance the process of consultation, cooperation and coordination between our respective institutions.
Prime Minister Nawaz is likely to hold meetings with top officials of different departments during his stay in Sri Lanka, stretching over 3 days.
Moving on, thousands of students in Nepal poured out on streets to protest against the government to demand equal rights for the Madhesis. The Madhes community has been protesting against the country's new constitution in southern Nepal.
Students from schools and colleges took to streets accusing the government of not being serious about resolving the Madhesi crisis. The ethnic Madhesi community has vowed to continue their agitation after rejecting a government plan which they said did not meet their call for a redrawing of internal boundaries or offer adequate national representation.
दुनिया के कोई भी इतिहास है, अगर विद्यार्थी लोग अगर आगे रोड पे सड़क पे आ गया विद्यार्थी युवा, उस देश में तख्ता पलट के रख दिया है। इतिहास है और वही हाल हुआ है नेपाल में। अभी ये 70 में लाखों की संख्या में विद्यार्थी लोग सड़क पर उतर गए हैं। जिस देश में रोजगार ही नहीं मिलेगा विद्यार्थी लोग पढ़ के भी क्या करेंगे, इसलिए समाज संपूर्ण विद्यार्थी युवा रोड पर आ गया है। सरकार को धमकी और चेतावनी देने के लिए अगर हमारे मधेश की मांग संबोधन नहीं होगा तो इस देश की सरकार अब टिकने वाली नहीं है।
The Madhesi community has been protesting against the Nepal government since the promulgation of new constitution in September, which the Madhesis believe is against their interest. Over 55 people, including agitators and police personnel, have been killed in violent clashes during the Madhesi agitation.
वहाँ जो एक तरह का जेनोसाइड हुआ है, मधेसियों का जो नरसंहार हुआ है, क्योंकि वो बिना चेतावनी शांतिपूर्ण तरीके से बैठे के लोगों के ऊपर गोलियां चलाते हैं, पकड़ने के बाद मार रहे हैं, तो यह जो है एक नरसंहार है और यह नरसंहार अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मानवीय कानून और मानव अधिकार का उल्लंघन है। इसलिए हम लोगों ने इंटरनेशनल कोर्ट जो है हेग में, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय फौजदारी अदालत, वहां भी हम लोगों ने केस फाइल कर दिया है। इसलिए अंतर्राष्ट्रीय क्षेत्र में, अंतर्राष्ट्रीय जगत में ये बातें जो है उठी है और दुनिया में जो है सारे मुल्कों ने यह कहा है नेपाल को कि वहां वार्ता के द्वारा समस्याओं का समाधान करो, लोगों की हत्याओं करना बंद करो।
The Madhesi agitation at the India-Nepal border has choked the landlocked nation of fuel and essential supplies, hitting normal lives. Several rounds of talks between the Nepal government and Madhesi leaders have failed to end the turmoil.
India is eyeing on bright economic prospect even in the mid of global slowdown. Indian Finance Minister on Tuesday said that in the years to come, the investments in the infrastructure would have a big positive impact on the economy, even though they take time to reciprocate. He called for stepping up investment in the sectors like highways, railways and power to take advantages during global slowdown, and added that India can spend more due to low oil and mineral prices. The government is also considering allowing private players to invest more in railway infrastructure and would soon invite bids for modernization of 400 railway stations across the country. India is currently the world's fastest growing economy as growth accelerated to over 7%, notwithstanding global slowdown.
The years and months to come will be those where we will be seriously investing in infrastructure. And investment in infrastructure, though it takes a little time to show its reciprocal results, will in fact be able to show much more positive results as far as the Indian economy is concerned, making it a stable global force, which we have become in the midst of even a crisis-like situation across the world.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Explosion occurs outside Pakistani guest house in Afghanistan. Pakistan Prime Minister on a 3-day visit to Sri Lanka to boost ties. And combing operation continues in Indian Air Base on 4th day of terror attack. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.